What's up, dogs? It's Nyctopluvo, and I've been playing a lot of Luigi's Mansion as I typically do every October. I kind of do like a yearly speed run of the game. It's kind of like a speed run, but at the same time I'm still trying to like enjoy the game, like not really trying to do that glitch where you glitch through all the walls and go straight to King Boo right after the Chauncey fight. But yeah, I've been playing through that, and it came out on the 3DS as well this year, so of course I played through it on the 3DS. And, like, playing through the game, I'm looking at, like, all the Poltrit ghosts again, and, like, I wanted to put together a list of the top 10 Poltrit ghosts. So, here it is, guys, the top 10 Poltrit ghosts in my personal opinion. Here we go. At number 10, we have Neville, the first Poltrit ghost you ever see in the game, and, like, he's always been kind of special to me, and I'm sure like everybody else as well, because like he's the very first one, and you like walk right into the study and you just see him sitting there on the rocking chair, and you're like, oh, that is a person ghost. This is different. And like you try to like stun him, but like it doesn't really work, and then you're kind of just like taking pictures of him, trying to figure out like what you're supposed to do in this room while simultaneously avoiding the books that are getting thrown off the shelf at you. Then eventually you kind of heat the room up by like vacuuming the fireplace, which gets him to yawn, and then you can start capturing him. And like this moment in the game, like, even though like Neville himself wasn't very interesting, it's just the fact that he was the first, and he like set the foundation for like every other Poltrit ghost. At number 9, we have Shivers, who is a butler ghost who is searching the mansion for his master's will in hopes that he's in it. It's real sad, honestly. And the reason this ghost is so interesting to me is because he's like the only ghost that wanders around the mansion and doesn't exist in one specific room like every other Poltrit ghost. He kind of just runs up and down the halls with his candlestick, and you have to light the candlestick to get him to run into his butler quarters, to where he'll like run in there and do like this mocking thing, and then you can capture him. And I just really like his butler design. He's a real cool ghost. At number 8, we have Slim Bankshot, who's this pool shark kind of like guy, just playing pool by himself. Real skinny boy, and I don't know. I just really like pool, and he's just like in this room playing pool, shooting a couple balls, going flying around the room. It's real cool, and then you just have to like take one of those balls and like hit him, and then he'll get real sad about life, and then you can start capturing him. He's also got a very punny biography that says, "Slim's a legend in the world of competitive pool. Too bad he's never played a living soul." At number 7, we have Madame Clairvoyant, who is the fortune teller ghost. And I think she's like the first ghost that actually talks to you and doesn't really like try to fight you or anything. She just like tries to talk to you, and you bring her like all of Mario's items, and she tells you things about them. And she's just like, overall she's just really cool. And as a kid I was a little bit freaked out by her, because like she has like this thing over her mouth that has like an eyeball on it, and I thought she just had an eyeball in her mouth, and it was always really weird to me. And actually researching for this video, like I went onto like a Wikipedia page, and I found out in the trivia that she's actually one of the few Luigi's Mansion ghosts that had been like referenced in other games. She's actually in Mario Kart Double Dash in the Luigi's Mansion Battle Course as like, just like a framed picture of her. And after looking up the Luigi's Mansion Battle Course, I realized why I've never seen her in Double Dash is because you have to, beat the Mushroom Cup on 150cc, which I've never done because I wasn't very good at Double Dash. But yeah, Madame Clairvoyant is just very cool because she's like, she's one of the few ghosts that you actually get to talk to, and like when you finally get to capture her, she doesn't really put up much of a fight. She's just like, oh, it's my time to go now. At number 6, we have the Clockwork Soldiers, who's not one, not two, but 3 ghosts all in the same painting. You find them in the attic in kind of like this toy clockwork room, and you kind of just have to go around hitting all the clocks, which start like making like the theme of the game just in this like little clockwork tone, and it's like super cool. And then they start like running around the room shooting at you with their little guns, and all you have to do is just like start sucking on them. Their little clockwork turning key thing falls off, and then you can start capturing them. And they're just very unique and interesting, and like it's like one of the only fights in the game. Like there are like 2 other fights in the game where you're doing 2 ghosts in the same room, but this one's 3, so it's just like, I don't know, just something about doing 3 different ghosts at the same time. They're all shooting at you with these guns. It just makes it a little bit more difficult, and their designs are just really cool as these little like kind of like clockwork soldiers, and they're really fun. At number 5, we have Henry and Orville, who are these twin ghosts, and they're super cool. They kind of just have like this like little kid's room, and when you first go in there, it's very empty. I'm not entirely sure how to summon them. I always like figured that it's like you spin around like the little thing hanging from the ceiling with like the little airplanes, but I'm not entirely sure if that's what triggers it or not. I always do that and they seem to show up, but I'm not entirely sure if that is the trigger to make them show up. And you know, when they show up, they ask to play a game of hide and seek with you, which you do, and I always forget until I play the game. If you like suck the vacuum on like the boxes on the ground, either the ones they're in will shake or won't shake, but like there's 2 of them, there's like something like 5 boxes, so you can easily figure out if 3 of the boxes do one thing and 2 do the other, then they're probably in those 2. But you know, once you finish playing hide and seek with them, you can start capturing them, and one of them's in like an airplane flying around the room, the others one of them's in an airplane and one's in a little car going around the room, and you kind of just have to like suck up their airplane or car before you can start capturing them. And it's just really fun. The one in the plane just starts throwing bombs at you, and then you have to avoid the one in the car, just make sure it doesn't run you over. And their biography is like another kind of sad one. It says that they both like to play hide and seek, but they both like to hide, so the game never ends. But yeah, they're really fun ghosts, and they're number 5. At number 4, we have Mr. Lugs, who's just this huge ghost that has like eaten himself to death, and he's very cool because like he's like one of the few ghosts you can like hear outside of his room, because if you walk in the hallway by his room, you just hear him like chomping down on food, and then when you finally get in that room, he's just sitting at a table just chomping down on like, to me, what looks like rice. He's just like chomping down and down on that, you know, banging on the table, all that. And like you can't really interact with him until you light the candles on the table, then you can start sucking his food in your vacuum. And it's really cool because then he has like these unique waiter ghosts that come up and like refill his food, so you have to capture the waiter ghosts to make sure they won't refill his food, and then you completely suck up his meal in your vacuum, and he gets very upset and he just starts shooting fireballs at you, and you just have to keep dodging them until like he gets tired out, and then you can capture him. And another fun fact, he's one of the few ghosts like Madame Clairvoyant, who's also featured in another game. He is also in the Mario Kart Double Dash Luigi's Mansion Battle Map, which I said earlier I've never unlocked, so I wouldn't know, but that is super cool. At number 3, we have Chauncey, who's the 3rd Pulse-Rick ghost you encounter, and he's a baby, so naturally you don't assume much of him. You're like, oh, that's kind of sad that there's a baby ghost. But you know, at this point in the game, you think it's just a regular poltergeist, but nope. Chauncey is the first boss. You wouldn't really expect that from him being a baby, but he is, which is really cool. So all you gotta do is just like rock his rocking horse to wake him up, and then he'll kind of get upset, and then he'll start throwing toys at you, and then you'll hit him with the ball in his room, and then he'll get even more upset. Then he brings you into his realm where he's like huge, and you're just like standing on the crib, avoiding like rocking horses that he's throwing at you, and then big balls. And then you take one of the big balls and you hit him, and then you could start capturing him. And he's just a very cool ghost, very cool design, and just like, he's very memorable to me since he's like the very first like boss battle, and just like the whole boss battle itself is very memorable because, you know, it's the first obviously, but it's a really cool boss battle. At number 2 we have Bogmire, who is a product of the mansion's fear and despair, and if that's not a cool description, I don't know what is. You find him in like this like secret like back area graveyard that you have to go into through like the doghouse, and it's just really cool. Like he shows up at the tombstone, he brings you into his own little dimension, and like lightning strikes and like these little shadows of him appear that try to attack you, but if you suck them up they turn into goo balls that you can then shoot at him and then start capturing him. And his boss fight's very, very cool. He's the second boss, and I just always really, really liked his design and thought he was a really cool boss. At number 1 we have Melody, who's just a really cool pianist like ghost, and you know, like Mr. Lugs, she's like one of the few ghosts where you can hear her outside of her room. You can just hear her playing the piano, and then once you get in the room's kind of just like empty, so you start banging on the instruments that start playing like the Super Mario theme, which is really cool. Then you wander over to the piano and she appears and she's playing alongside it. Then the music stops and she starts talking to you, and she asks if you want to play a game where she plays like a little song, and then you try to like guess the name of the song. It's just like all older Mario musics, and it's just really cool. And like, honestly, if I was like in the Luigi's Mansion if I was in there, like, I feel like I would definitely be hanging out in the music room with her, just like listening to her play music, and it'd be really cool. And like, I mean, she does, like, after you like guess the song correctly, she does like start throwing pages at you, and then you can capture her. And you know, she's not really like the nicest after that point, but she's definitely very cool, and I have to say she's my favorite. So there it is, guys, my top 10 favorite poltergeists from Luigi's Mansion. Be sure to let me know down in the comment section below what are some of your favorite poltergeists. Honestly, they're all very, very cool in their own way, and you know, there are plenty of ghosts I wanted to talk about, but you know, it'd be a lot easier to make a top 10 than like, I think there's like 30 in total, like than a top 30. I was thinking about putting Jarvis on the list. He's very cool, but you know, he didn't really make the cut. But yeah, anyway, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye bye.